Hello guys, it's been a while here. So what am I going to be talking about in this particular video? So in this video, I'll be talking about compounds. If there is time, I'm just going to talk about mixtures. So normally in my previous videos, I've talked about elements. I taught you guys how to get the electronic configurations. So in this video, I'll be talking about compounds. If I still have enough time, I'm going to explain mixtures. Alright guys, what do we call a compound? So a compound is just a substance that contains two or more elements that are chemically combined. That's what we call a compound. Take for example, if I have hydrogen and I have oxygen. If I combine hydrogen and oxygen together chemically, I'm going to have H2O, which is water. If I have silicon and I have oxygen, if I combine the two elements together, I'm going to have SiO2, which is silicon oxide, and that is what we call sand. Now, I'm going to be teaching you guys how you can form all these compounds. It's very simple. You already know how to get the electronic configuration of atoms, how to determine the charge on any atom. So using those concepts, you should be able to get how we form compounds in chemistry. So a compound is just a substance that contains two or more elements that are chemically combined. Now look at all these compounds that are chemically combined. They are always combined in a fixed ratio. So what we mean is that if I want to combine two atoms together, I have to combine them in a fixed ratio. There should be a kind of ratio between those atoms when combining them. So they have a fixed ratio and they cannot be separated by physical means when they are formed. They have other properties, and you should all know that compounds, they are always homogeneous in nature. That's what we call compound. So now we have types of compounds. We have the organic compounds. So I'm not going to explain that in this video. So how do we form compounds? That's the major reason why I am making this video. If you want to form a compound, it's very simple. Now, we have different types of compounds, and I'm going to be talking about all those compounds when we get to chemical bonding. But in this video, I'll be explaining how you can form compounds. Imagine I have something like sodium and chlorine. Remember that sodium is number 11 on the periodic table. So if I want to write the configuration, it's just going to be 281. Having that configuration already, the group of sodium is 1 and the period is 3. So that means because the group of sodium is 1, for sodium to be stable, it's going to lose the last electron, which is positively charged of that one. And that's why if I want to write the ionic form of sodium, it's going to be A+, right? Now chlorine on the other side. Chlorine is 17 on the periodic table, right? So if I want to write the configuration, it's going to be 2,8. So chlorine is in group 7. The last electron is 7 and period 3. So if chlorine is going to be stable on the periodic table, it's going to accept 1 electron to become 2, become negatively charged of that 1 and become 6. Now if I want to form the compound between sodium and chlorine, what is just going to happen is that they are going to exchange their respective radical without the sign of the charge, become NaC, that is sodium chloride, which we call table salt. Let me give you another example. How do we form magnesium oxide? Magnesium is number 12 on the periodic table. So if I want to write the configuration, it's going to be 2H2 already. That is going to lose the 2 and become, it's going to be 2,6. So for oxygen to be stable, it's going to gain 2 and become 2. So it's going to become negatively charged of 2, and that's why the ionic form of of oxygen is O2 minus. So if I want to form a compound between magnesium and oxygen, they're going to exchange their respective radicals without the sign. So if they exchange their respective radicals, it's going to be Mg. But because the two, they are the same, I'm just going to eliminate the 2 and have Mg. Or if I can write it as Mg into bracket 2. So that MgO is just going to be the simplest form of that compound. And the simplest form of a compound is what we call empirical formula. We are going to talk about that in another video of mine. So that is basically how we form compounds. Let me give you another one. Aluminum and let's say oxygen. Aluminum is number 13 on the periodic table. The configuration is 2,8. So it's going to lose the 3 and become positively charged of the 3. So the ionic form is going to be Al3+. Oxygen on the other side is number 8. So the configuration is 2,6. It's going to gain 2 and become negatively charged of 2, O2-. When they exchange their respective radicals, it's going to be Al2O3. That is Al2O3 aluminum oxide, which is what we call alumina, or sometimes we call it corundum in chemistry. So this is how we form compounds. That's the definition of compounds in chemistry. So in my next video, I'm going to be talking about mixtures. When I'm done talking about mixtures, I'm going to move to separation techniques. So this is what I have for you guys in this particular video. Thank you so much. Follow my channel so that you can learn more about chemistry. Enjoy.